Good morning. Yep, I can tell that we're away, which is good. It's always a worry. Lots of you were in the lobby this morning, so thank you for standing by, getting on nice and early. Good morning. Yeah, it's going really fast, the thing, because I want you to know that we've got a rather full house today, but you'll be pleased to know that we've upgraded twice to accommodate this today. So we're just letting everybody get on. I know at what point of numbers that we should be getting going. So we're still waiting for some people to join us. Good morning. Some people I can see. Charlie, Matt, good morning. Megan, Jay, Crystal, Maisie, Angel, Courtney, Tia, Chelsea, hi, Liana, Abby, hi, Alicia, Taylor, Helen, Deanna, Andrew, good morning, Kaylee, Claire, Lucy, Susan, good morning, Kay, hi, Milka, good morning. Let's see where we are. Yeah, we're still okay. So let's start by helping everybody navigate a little bit. So your participation in that little feed there is encouraged. There's two things that happen in the feed. If you look just underneath the feed, you should be able to see two round circles. One is a speech box. So when you're just making a comment like you are now, please use the speech box, okay? If you want to ask a question, you'll see next to the speech box is a little question mode. Actually, what we've come to learn is if you type your question with a question mark, it will automatically come in a question box, okay? If you ask a question, however, there you are, Maisie, you're in the question box there. So after you've asked a question, if you would then click onto the speech box, and this is why, good morning, Tina, this is why. It's really good that you're all interacting, and that's very good. We love that and we encourage it. Questions we're going to do at the end. So Declan is managing this webinar with me. He'll take all of the questions. Morning, Lanka. He'll take all of the questions, and at the end, he'll put them up. So if you've got a question, just tap it in there, ask the question, but know that I'll deal with it at the end, okay? But you can do it as you go along, so that we're all understanding. So interaction, yeah, absolutely encouraged. Please do it in the speech box. And if you've got a question, please do it in a blue question box. And then go back to your speech box, okay? It just makes it better for everybody, particularly me, because it keeps catching my eye. So it's all about me today. Morning, Jude. I can see Irma and Julie. I'm looking at the attendees, and I know how many signed up, and we've got a good many of you on now. In fact, I'm going to tell you there's over 200 of us on this webinar this morning. So that's fantastic. I want to thank you all for coming. And our subject today, let's talk dialogue for professional stylists. So let's that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on, you see, what's really important in terms of being a stylist. Yes, of course, our hairdressing skills are very important. The level of service that we give a client is very important, but the dialogue really can make the difference between an ordinary stylist and an extraordinary stylist. A great experience and an extraordinary experience. And what I want you to do is I want you to think I want you to think a minute about your own experiences when you're out and about, not in hairdressing. I always think it's good to think about your experience in other situations and scenarios, and then try and bring it into ours, because it's very difficult. If you're a goldfish in the bowl, it's very difficult to look in the bowl, okay? So we have to kind of look outside in order to look inside. So, you know, if we think for a minute about when you have the best experiences, it's when people are dialoguing with you well. So they are talking you through what's happening. You know what to expect next. They are doing it in a very elegant and eloquent way. And you know, they have a way of being able to talk to you in a language which is the right language for that setting. So an obvious example is Starbucks. I've got hay fever, everybody, so you'll have to excuse me. You know, Starbucks, when you go into Starbucks, it's almost like they speak a different language. You know, people ordering their coffee, you know, they have a Frappalappa triple with an extra shot with a doodle, whatever it is, skinny. So there's a whole language to Starbucks and to your coffee. That gives you sort of an idea of what we're talking about with dialogue. So I think particularly this is a great time now for us to be focusing on this this kind of thing. What I want us to think about as we go through is all of the opportunities that exist for us now. Before we go any further, I do want to wish you all a happy Earth Day. Yes, it is Earth Day today. And it's a shame, really, because it's likely to get a little bit overshadowed by all the other stuff that's going on. But I did think it was also a really good time to remind us all that the environmentalists might be quiet right now, but they haven't gone away. And I think this is very, very important for us to remember this. What opportunity are the environmentalists getting right now? Somebody tell me what opportunity. Some of you are probably environmentalists yourself, as I am, passionate about the planet. So what are they doing right now? They are gathering evidence. Quite right, Matt. Because if you are linked into a lot of environmental type groups, etc., one of the things, of course, that is showing is that whilst we're not travelling around in our cars and in aeroplanes, the pollution is going down. The quality of the air is much better in cities. The world's taking a much needed break. The skies are so clear. There's all sorts of things that people are talking about with the planet, and there'll be lots of other things, I've no doubt, that we are not even yet aware of that will happen. So they've not gone away, they're still there, and in actual fact, when they get their opportunity to have their voice heard again, I'm sure they're going to be coming back bigger and stronger than ever. So, and that's a good thing. You know, I know many of you, it's actually one of the things that binds us together, because many of us are passionate about the planet, about the environment, about sustainability. It's one of the things, of course, that we love about Census. So happy Earth Day to all. So that was a really good way to start today. But what we are experiencing right now is a paradigm shift of the whole world. And, you know, when we listen to the news, or we listen to the politicians, or you watch the TV, or everyone's talking about this, you know, this world pandemic and how it's changing the world. And it really is. A paradigm, of course, is the filter through which we experience and see the world. And each of us have our own individual beliefs and values and the way that we see things, but it doesn't matter who you are or where you are. Right now, we are all experiencing this paradigm shift. And that can, if you let it, it can be an amazing thing, because it's an opportunity for us to really move in a way that we want to move. We don't necessarily have to, you know, just sit back like we're in. Some of you will know my analogy about the, you know, the rapids in a water park, right? So, you know, when you go to a water park and they always have like the lazy river around the outside, and everybody gets a big rubber ring, right? And you kind of sit in it. and the lazy river just takes you around. You just sort of, you know, and you bump against the side, boop, like that, and against the side, boop, like that, and they're a little bit of fun. You know, a water spray kind of sprays you with water a little bit, but for the most part, you're just bobbing along for the ride. Well, we don't have to do that. We can choose to use this opportunity and this time to shape our own future in a different way. So when we talk about the hairdressing industry, we're the pioneers of the new. We're the future makers. People will look back at this time and they'll be able to say, oh, that was a moment in time when this happened and that happened. And we have the opportunity to shape that and to make that happen. So that's a very, very positive thing. And I want us to focus on that very much, not just today, but until we get back into the salons, because in life there are things you can control and things you can't control. And if you focus on the things that you can't control, you're going to fill yourself with fears and anxieties and you know, sleepless nights, etc., because you can't control those things. And if you allow them to worry you, the fact that the uncertainty and what you can't control will really exasperate you inside. So let's focus on the things we can control, and what we can control is ourselves, our own career, and we can control our salons and how we want to get back. And you know, I want to congratulate you all for being on here this morning, because our industry is made up of, they say there's like 500,000 hairdressers in this country, right? And whilst there's a lot of people on here, and there are, the rest are not on here. Now I realise they're on other webinars and etc., but there are some people that are not. Okay, there are some people that are taking this as, you know, the greatest holiday they've ever had, and that's okay. I think it is. We're so lucky that the weather's nice and people are being able to catch up on projects at home, which is fantastic. You know, catching up with your friends and your family online, which is amazing. I know that I've certainly had more time for that, and that's something that I've already promised myself I want to continue. So, but nevertheless, there should be time for our own personal development, and if we want to be part, you know, a positive part of that future, then it's important. So we've got this great opportunity to move forward in a positive way. And I'm so warmed by the numbers on here. We upgraded. I want to tell you that we upgraded our the capacity in here, because we reached capacity last week with unexpectedly with Nicole. So we upgraded our capacity, and then as time went by, more people registered, and so we've upgraded our capacity again. So, and we'll keep upgrading if that's what you need. So now, what's very important, one of the first things we have to understand is that the fundamentals still apply. You know, what got us here so far still applies. So when we talk about the opportunity of moving forward, you know, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. The fundamentals remain the same. Those things don't change, but we're able to put another layer on top of those things. And some of the things that stop us, you know, a lot of you here attend education, and you learn new things, and you go away from the education and you're really, really excited, but something stops you from being able to I wonder, someone's messaged me on my phone. Give me 1 second. So what are some of the things when we do education, we're really excited, we learn new things. What are some of the things that stop us from putting that into action when we get back into the salon? So tell me some of the things. So Yeah, scared of the change. Yep, fear of the change. Fear of the change. Yep, sometimes it's time. Fear of the change. A lot of people are saying time. Yeah, afraid of the change. Okay, busy lives. Yep, old habits. Very good. Keep it coming. Clients' anxiety. Other team members judging us. We get distracted. We're worried that the clients won't like it. Commitment for doing it. Fear of rejection. This is fantastic. Laziness, implementation. What's in it for me? Negativity. Guys, I'm loving this list. Negative comments from colleagues. The support. The level of expectation. Wondering whether it will work. You don't want to change. Apathy. Judgment. Okay, people like change as long as it doesn't affect them. Yeah, the fear of failure. What a great list. The risk, really good. Okay, all of those things, tell me about them. Tell me about them when we go back to the salon. No one's typing, so I'm going to tell you. We're going to have all of those things anyway. All of those things anyway. Right now, it's a risk. We're in risk. Your salon owners, and I speak to many of them over the last 4 weeks. I've had that many. My days have been completely full with telephone calls and webinars and Zoom calls and messages, and they're doing everything they can to make sure they get the grants and they get everyone's wages paid with the government scheme, and making sure that self-employed people get their grants, and dealing with the landlords and dealing with all the bills, and etc. So it's been it's been a real frantic 4 weeks, right? All of those things are going to happen. It's going to change, right? And yes, there is an element of fear, and there is an element of risk, and we've got here, I'm afraid that the team will act like normal and just go back to normal. They can't, because it's not, you see, what, even when we talk about the client's attitude. Oh, I don't know if the clients will like it. Well, the clients are going to come in knowing that something's different. So it's the biggest opportunity. 40 years I've been in this industry, more than 40 actually, but we'll call it 40. 40 years I've been in this industry, and I've never known an opportunity to make change like it. Most people, when they when they want to make change, most people have to move jobs, right? They have to do something else. Well, there's no need to do that this time. We can do it together, and we can make a great result. So let's remember the fundamentals are important. That's not when we're talking about change. We'll go back and those things will be the same, except for, of course, for many of you, you've learned new skills and new information, and quite right that you should. You've had time like never before for reading those fact sheets about products, and following Jude with hair colouring information. Andy, Richard, Nicole have all done webinars helping people learn more, and we've got more of those things coming. So that's great. So someone's put in, maybe we change our expectations of normal. I wouldn't even use, who wants normal? Normal brings normal results. And I don't know about you, but I look around, I've been saying this for 30 years. I look around our industry and I don't like what much I see, right? I don't want what other people in our industry get. I want more than that for myself. I want it for my team. I want it for you. It's how I come to be sat here today. This was never, what's happened to me in my career was never part of a master plan. I promise you. It's kind of, it's evolved and it's happened. If a team member can't make this, will they be able to pick it up somewhere else? We hope that happens, but it hasn't always been able to get to be able to happen. So there's plenty of, if they register right now, they can get on, and there's plenty of room. Let me tell you that we have 250 people on here. Our capacity today is 500. If they register right now, it will say join now, and they'll come in now. Okay, so So we have, we have this great opportunity now. Now, the other thing, here's something else I want to, some are having trouble with their Wi-Fi. And let me just tell you something really important, that there are so many people right now. This has got nothing to do with Passion for Hair, nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my computer or this platform that we're using. It's a known fact that so many people are using the internet right now because everyone's at home. Not everyone, but so many people are at home. That what is happening is that the internet is slow, particularly in some areas, much slower than it normally is. 16 million new people have signed up to Netflix. Yeah. So if Netflix can't deal with it, then no one's got a chance. One of the giants of the world. But yes, you can. By all means, share your notes with the team. If we can get it up, then we will get it up on the Passion for Hair hotline. It is being recorded, but it's slightly more complicated than you think, because this platform only holds so much information, right? And so that's part of the problem. But I will tell you that before we go back, we will have another session like this. Okay, so I will tell you that. Won't be this same one, right? But I will do another session with Stylist before we go back, because it's such an opportunity. I want us to understand this, and it's timely that we would be talking about, online, because we're drowning. I've been saying this for years. We're drowning in content, and yet we're starved of wisdom. I mean, those of you that have been joining these webinars, some of you have been on every single one. You've been on mine, you've been on Andy's, you've been on Jude's, you've been on them all. I've seen you, right? So some of you have been on them all, and congratulations to you. So you will know that I have told, I've said previously that I've had to come off of social media at times, because there is such a lot of shite on there. It's driving me bananas. And yesterday I thought, I had a little moment yesterday afternoon. I went and sat down in my conservatory with a nice cup of tea. I thought I'd just have a little look on Facebook. I found myself drawn in, to another lot of shite. It's the only way I can describe it. You see, we are all experiencing the world through the paradigm of our own beliefs. Okay, we're all experiencing the world through a paradigm of our own beliefs. I've got my bifolds open, so I'll have to lower my voice for a minute. I'll come close. I've got the most wonderful neighbours at both sides. They're lovely. They're both retired couples, both sides. Okay, and of course, because we're at home now a lot, we've always got on well with our neighbours, but we're in and out, running about. We've got to know them even more, and they're lovely, all retired, so nice, and they're all, self-isolating, except for on Friday mornings when they all rush off to Waitrose, because between 9 and 10 they get priority. I went shopping last Friday afternoon. There was nothing left on the shelves. So they're seeing it through their beliefs, okay? And they keep saying to me, oh, well, it'll be okay. Everyone will be all right. Well, they haven't got 80 employees. I have. They haven't got 9 businesses. I have. They're not supporting hundreds of salon owners. I am. They're not in contact with people who are concerned. They're not getting 80% of their income. They're getting 100% of their pension. So we're all seeing things through and sometimes when I'm having a little chat with them over the fence, I have to bite my tongue, because they're saying, oh, this could be like this till September. I'm like this. Oh. So we're all seeing it through the lens, the paradigm of our own beliefs and our own experience in our own life. And this is a very, very difficult thing. Maria, they need to get your shopping for you. They do. I keep saying to them, is there anything you need? No, it's okay, dear. We go at Waitrose Friday on 9 o'clock. And the rest of the week, they tell me they're self-isolating. So we're drowning in content, yet we're starved of wisdom. So choose your information carefully. Choose what is relevant to you. Choose what it is that you need to know. You know, so if you want to know more about Euphoria because you want to become a Euphoria expert, then study the Euphoria fact sheets, right? Don't listen to some drivel about something else. I know it's funny and whatever. I've joined TikTok in the last few weeks. I don't get it at all. I can't get it. I don't know. I'll persevere maybe. Who knows? But I can see how people could spend hours just. I must have spent 15 minutes just trying to find something that was relevant to me. And then I gave up. I was like, 15 minutes of my life gone. I can't get that back. So choose wisely what you are looking at, what you're studying, what you're reading. And, you know, if you really are committed to going back to your career and making this opportunity work for you, then find that opportunity. You can ask us anytime for information that you need, and we will point you in the right direction. Anything you need to know to do with passion for hair, anything, you know, it's there somewhere for you. Okay, so you just go on the hotline. Half the time we don't even have to answer the questions. You put it up there, someone else asks the question. So yeah, I'd like to know more about the color synthesis. You're new to it, so Andy has said get the app, Lynn. Yep, so download the app. There's a free app. You can find out lots of information there. And also, if you go to www.ilovecensus.com, we don't print brochures anymore because we are we're committed to the planet. All the brochures are downloadable on that website. So let's say if you want to know more about FARD, so then you go onto the website, you find FARD, and you will find there's a technical brochure, and there's a brochure which will have like the features and benefits, which helps you to, if you like, sell the product to a client. Okay, and the technical brochure is where you'll find the best way to use it. And there's some fantastic, for an example with FARD, if you haven't seen it, there's a fantastic chart that shows you if the hair is this level, this is the right product to use. Okay, so all of the answers are on the Stylist hotline on Facebook. Thanks for reminding me about that. You can go to Facebook, the Passion for Hair Stylist hotline, go into the search bar, and for an example, let's say you wanted a rose gold formula. So you'd go rose gold, and every comment that's ever been made about rose gold in the whole of that group will come up to the top for you, right? So sometimes you don't even need somebody else. You can just search. Okay, so that was really good. Not planned, but good. So when we come to stuff that is in purple like this, purple, lilac, whatever colour you'd like to call it, this is where we're talking about dialogue, where we can improve our dialogue and we can really make this work for us. So for an example, when we talk about paradigm shift, right, and the clients might say, oh, you know, got to do a lot of things differently. Or the team say, oh, we've got to do things differently. Or your family, or your friends, or even if your voice 2 says it. Voice 2 is that little voice inside our heads that we've all got. Even if voice 2 says it, you say, I'm excited to be able to make a positive impact on the future of the hairdressing industry. Because if that's what you tell yourself, if that's what you tell other people, that's what will happen. What you focus on is what will happen. I promise you, I've been practicing this stuff in my life for the last 30 years. And the more I focus on good stuff, the more good stuff happens, right? So we're excited to be able to make a positive impact on the future of the hairdressing industry, right? And that's what we're able to do if that's what we want to focus on. So new things and ways are never easy, but we are committed to doing the best we can. So as we move forward and we do things differently, and we have to do things differently, are we going to get it right every time? Let's see what everybody says. Are we going to get... No, we're not going to get it right every time. We know that. For those of you that were on the webinar last week, we talked about the S-curve, right? And you want me to draw the S-curve again? If there's enough people that say yes, I'll get my whiteboard out. No, you don't need the, yeah, what? Oh, you're talking amongst yourselves. How many people need the S-curve? If there's enough yeses that come up there, then I'll get the whiteboard out and we'll do the S-curve. It means that we might go over. Yep, I need it, please. Yes, please. Okay, let's do the S-curve. Let's get the whiteboard out. So here's the whiteboard. This is a new skill that I've learned, doing a whiteboard on the computer. It's really not that easy. And right, okay, so here we go. I've got a pencil here. And I'm going to draw the S-curve. Oh, that's not very, I don't like that one. How do I rub that out a little bit, Declan? Let's have Declan rub it out. Somebody tell me, how many phases in the S-curve? You can have another go. Yeah, 3 phases in the S-curve. Yep, there comes Declan with his rubber. Thank you, Declan. All right. Yeah, I can take it from here. Thank you. I much prefer that. So there are 3 phases, right? And we will draw them like so. Okay, now here's phase 1 over here. Who can tell me how do we label phase 1? How do we label phase 1? Yeah, it's the birth. No, that's not going to work like that, is it? Declan will rub that out and I will go to text. Here we go. So the first phase, yes, we call it the birth or the beginning. And we also call it the discovery phase, right? Because when we are in this phase, phase 1, which is here, it's the beginning of something. It's discovery. We are discovering what? What are we discovering? What are we discovering? Let's wait for some people to type. Yeah, we're discovering something new. We're discovering what works and what doesn't work. We're discovering how to make that change. We're discovering new techniques. Yeah, and we're practicing. In some respects, we're practicing. So when you note the shape of the first phase, can you see that it goes down? In fact, if we looked at it in detail, it would be like that, be up and down, up and down, up and down, because sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. Because when we do things for the first time, we don't always get it right. So birth, discovery, when we don't quite get it right the first time, it's okay. We've got to keep trying and trying until eventually we discover what works, and then we move into phase 2. So phase 2 is called what? My text box. What's it called? Let's see you. Yeah, replication, or you can call it repetition. In other words, when we've discovered what works, right, we take that, we leave behind what doesn't work, and we just keep doing it the same way, the same way, the same way, the same way, and then we're in this growth phase, okay? So ultimately, what will happen, let's get my drawing pencil back. There we go. Ultimately, what will happen is we will meet this phase here, which is called, tell me what it's called. Yeah, performance level off. Now, if we don't address performance level off and do something here, we will go into phase 3, and phase 3 is called decline. I hope you never get in that phase. The problem of getting into the decline phase is that once you get into decline, it's really difficult to get back out. If we do address it here, right, then what we do then, get the pencil back. Here comes the pencil. We start a new S-curve, okay? Oh, sorry about that bit there. We start a new S-curve. And what that means is we go back into phase 1, which is the birth or rebirth and discovery or rediscovery. And that's what's going to happen for us now. Now, ordinarily, when we're in the momentum of every day, every week in the salon, like the momentum is like this. And when we try to sort of do something new, it's quite difficult for all the reasons that we were talking about earlier. Okay. But now we're in this kind of stop, as it were, this pause. And so going back in, we're going to be here. This is where we're going to be. All right. We're going to be in the first phase of a new S-curve. And that's why it's so important that we all come together. It's why your salon owners have been so keen to get you all onto this webinar, because we need to do a little bit of preparation before we get the all clear to go back into the salon, as it were. So yeah, the coronavirus has given us a new S-curve in so many ways. Let's get back to the presentation. So new things and new ways are never easy, but we're committed to doing the best we can. So we're in phase one, we're committed to doing the best we can. And if we keep that commitment to do the best we can, then we'll find the new best way for us, right? So it's going to be a fantastic opportunity. Now, this is one of the things that you may have noticed, like I have. There's kind of been a bit of an over focus on hairdressers. I mean, day one, people were like, the TV programs, the newspapers, all online. Everyone was like, what are we going to do without the hairdressers? And it was like day one, you know, day two. So I'm not complaining about that over focus. I think it's amazing, because what it has reiterated to me, I knew this, but I kind of forgot it. Chloe, I'll come back to we'll come back to that. I've got some update on that. Whilst you know, I kind of already know that, you know, we kind of forget these things. So it made me go back and find this quote here by John Steinbeck. Now, if you don't know who John Steinbeck is, he's one of America's most celebrated authors of the 20th century. Even today, his books are studied in. So if you were in high school in America, you would study some of the John Steinbeck novels. And here is what he said about hairdressers. He said, "It is my considered opinion that the hairdresser is the most influential person in any community. When the public goes to a hairdresser, something happens to them. They feel safe. They relax. The hairdresser knows what their skin is like under their makeup. They know their age. They don't have to keep up any kind of pretense. People tell a hairdresser things they wouldn't dare to confess to a priest, and they are open about matters they'd try to conceal from a doctor. When people place their secret lives in the hairdresser's hands, the hairdresser gains an authority few other people attain. I have heard hairdressers quoted with complete conviction on art, literature, politics, economics, childcare, and morals. I tell you that a clever, thoughtful, ambitious hairdresser wields a power beyond the comprehension of most people." John Steinbeck, I think he died in 1968. So he must have written that like at least like the 50s or the 60s. Way back then, hairdressing was different. Hairdressing was different when I started. When I started hairdressing over 40 years ago, the stylists that I was an apprentice, and so I was training under these stylists, and they were all called, by the way, the first salon that I started my apprenticeship in, they were all men, right? And they were all called Mr. Trevor, Mr. Simon, Mr. John, Mr. James. Even the clients called them Mr., right? We had to call them Mr. There was a great respect for the stylists. And what's happened over the 40 years that I've been in hairdressing, that's been eroded. For the most part in our industry, it's been eroded. And I believe that what has happened is this reset that we've had has reset everybody to understand. Richard, I saw that comment. Richard and I work together with Mr. Trevor. It's given a reset to everybody, and everybody's suddenly realizing, oh my God, the hairdressers, where are they? Because we don't want to do it by ourselves. Now, what has happened, there's been an oversaturation of our industry. Actually, the truth is that there are too many hairdressers today. So clients have too much choice. We need hairdressers to be the next toilet roll. That's what we need. People were selling toilet rolls on eBay for astronomical prices. So the hairdresser to become the next toilet roll. But the question is, when we come out of this, what kind of toilet roll are you going to be? Because I wasn't able to buy toilet rolls for weeks, except for some supermarkets had some cheap, nasty stuff on pallets. And I don't want cheap, nasty stuff. There's a specific type of Andrex that I like. And I held out for that Andrex. That doesn't mean I ran out of toilet roll. I'm somebody who actually, ordinarily, I buy toilet roll every week. So we've always got like tons of toilet roll everywhere just because I buy it every week, right? So luckily we didn't run out. We were running very low though, I have to tell you. But let's get back to hairdressers being valuable. Look at this, how hairdressers were, and we have an opportunity to do this for ourselves. Not the whole industry, but there are people out there, you know, and many of our clients really do value us very, very much. We need to find more of the clients that value us. And we have an opportunity now to really make ourselves stand out so that those people that now are seeing hairdressing in a completely different way, and we're going to talk about these things now, they're going to seek out hairdressers who, like us, are going to come out of the gate doing things differently right from the get-go. Nobody's going to have to regulate us and tell us what we can and can't do. We're going to do the right things when we come out of the gate. So, and we are going to do it. It's not going to be easy, but we're going to do it. So this is something, my team are on here, my managers, can we please get this printed off, and can we get this framed? And I want this where our hairdressers can see it every day, because this is our new mission. Our new mission is to have people seeing us like this. Not everybody, because there'll always be somebody, you know, wants a balayage in 2 hours for £80, etc., etc. That's not our client, okay? So that is true. Matt was in Aldi and he called Debbie. That is right. And let me tell you something else. Richard Tidy sent some toilet roll to Declan. That weren't good enough either. And Emma from Elle sent me a toilet roll, which actually was so posh, it's now an ornament in my bathroom. Okay, so, but it was a toilet roll and I'm not using it. Yes, Courtney, let's have this in the salons so that we can remember and keep reminding ourselves that we are an important part of the community and we are valuable. Now, I want to tell you something else, actually, just before I go on. I've been, I'm very fortunate. I get to access lots of research that's done, you know, in the manufacturing sector and in the distribution sector. And some of it was sent through to me yesterday. And I've been going to bed really early, but I was up till midnight last night reading some of this stuff. Anyway, there's this research organisation called Kantar. And I picked up, Bertie, stop that, please, because I'm on a webinar. I picked up this from there yesterday that I wrote down to share with you. Kantar Research, they're very well respected. And they said pampering is the most anticipated consumer activity. So when they have researched consumers who are stuck at home and said, what is it you're really looking forward to? Pampering has the most anticipated research, right? So we're part of something special, all of us together, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. We are blessed to be together, all of us working together. Look how many of us are on here. I mean, I can't tell you how thrilled I am. I really can't tell you how thrilled I am for us all to be together here and to have you all like-minded, wanting to achieve the same things. It's exciting. So we're very, very lucky. And I want you to imagine the world's a puzzle. Getting excited here. Imagine the world's a puzzle. My hair. And the hairdressing industry is part of that puzzle. And then passion for hair is part of that puzzle. And your salon is part of that puzzle. and you're part of that puzzle. Can we see how we're all part of we're all part of that puzzle, as it were? We all fit in somewhere. You know, that's how we need to understand how we all work together. Yep, cogs working together. So the big picture and the detail, absolutely. I think it's important. What happened there? Stick with me a second. Something's happened to the presentation and I don't know what it is. Where am I? How did that happen to me? Okay, so you are, I don't know what's happened to my presentation here this morning. Can you see that, how that's gone weird? And I seem to have missed the whole bit of it, but don't worry about it because I know what it is, because I've got it here. So you are a stakeholder, right? You are a stakeholder in your salon and in your career. Now, I want you to really understand this for a second. A stakeholder is somebody who's got something invested. Now, what have you got invested in your salon? Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's your career. If you've been doing hair for 10, 20 years, your career is invested in what happens to your salon, right? Now, I know that you have a choice, but I'm kind of hoping that you don't want a choice to go somewhere else, that you want the salon that you're in to come back bigger and stronger, the people that you work with already. So you see, that makes you a stakeholder. You are emotionally tied into your teammates, tied into the salon, right? So your emotions are invested, your career's invested. And for your future, one of the things I love about hairdressing, talking about the future, as a hairdresser, you can earn more next week. I mean, not literally right now, okay, because of where we are. But once we get back, you can earn more next week than you did last week. Now, by the same token, you can earn less next week than you did last week. So it's important that we do the right things. That's how we take control of our career and we really make the most of the results that we have. So play your part. Take your responsibility seriously. And if you do that, then we're all going to do better. We're all going to do better together. A big celebratory. Are you awake in this lesson? Are you awake? Or are you one of the people who are in that, for those of you that were on my webinar when we were talking about leadership, right? And we have the bottom right-hand corner, which is the positive low, the low positive, right? Some people are, you know, relaxed. They're not making the, oh, I forgot. They're not making the webinars. I forgot, you know, the time went by. So, you know, are you awake in this lesson? Now, I'm not saying that you've got to be in it 24/7. Of course not. It's a great opportunity. I've never explored so much of my local countryside where I live than I have done in the last 4 weeks. It's been wonderful, but I have invested my time wisely too. This is the time for you to show up and shine. It's a time to show up and shine and reap the rewards of the opportunity. And I don't know how I have lost the... right, I've lost these ones. Actually, I'm going to type them out. And Declan, help me out here. If you will refresh that, I'm going to type these out, and I need them in purple. So if you can get rid of that, I'm going to look for a purple. No purple came up. How do I get purple, Dec? You get purple, I'll get the text thing. Do you notice so far he's done all the work? Okay. I don't know how we're going to be able to get a nice purpley text, because here is what the dialogue. Now I can't even type. I've been diligent in keeping up with the new information. Okay? I've been diligent with keeping up with the new information. I don't even want that. So, Dec, can you make that? We've lost a bit. I would really prefer if it was in a different colour, in the colour of the, and we have spent time further educating ourselves. I can't see the box now. I've lost the box, Dec. Can you help me out? Because the box is behind my picture of myself. What happens is the way we normally do PowerPoint presentations, you can't present them here. You have to take the presentation and break it up. And in breaking it up this morning, I've broke it up and lost a bit. Move the picture of myself. Okay. Now the box is gone. Why don't you lose that box for me, Dec? That one there, we have spent, and I'd start another box. Another text box. Thank you. When you did that, you lost my text box. Text. Right, we have spent time further educating ourselves. Educating ourselves. Technical hitches, you see. Educating ourselves and ensuring. I can only do one finger typing. We have the new measures and protocols. This is an important one, you see. That's why I looked at it and I was like, no, I've got to. Okay. Can you put that sentence together for me, Declan, whilst I'm speaking? Because I don't even know where the letters went. He'll get rid of the word education. He'll put the sentence together and he'll turn it into the right colour. Thank you, Declan. So this is our dialogue, whether it be to ourselves, in our mindset, to our team, or to our clients. This is the dialogue that we've got to practice and that we've got to get ready. So the first one, I've been diligent in keeping up with the new information. When someone says, what have you been doing for 5 weeks? Well, I've been diligent in keeping up with new information and learning new knowledge and upskilling my skills. Some of you have been practicing with mannequin heads. I want to congratulate. Somebody remind me which of the girls, Brian will remember, which of the girls was it that bought a mannequin head? Like day one of lockdown. Katie. Yeah, Katie contacted me, right? And she says, Debbie, can you get me a mannequin head and a stand sent to my house, please? Me, Katie, there you are. Good girl. I was so proud of you. I was like, she's my kind of girl. Straight away, she was like, I need to practice my hairdressing. She's been using that mannequin head and teaching herself, upskilling. I love it. So well done. And there were others too, but you were the first one. You're the one that I remember. So, and then the other thing, we've spent time further educating ourselves and ensuring we've got the new measures and protocols in place. So, making sure that, we're using those protocols, using this, using this dialogue to make sure that we're telling ourselves, our mindset, we're telling our clients, we're telling our team that this is what we're doing. Now, let's get back to the presentation. Okay, let me see. You didn't miss anything there. So, but now my head's over the top of where I don't want it to be. Put it there. Okay. So we are part of the whole. And we're going to take this, our responsibility towards it seriously. We're going to know that being part of the whole is actually going to help us. So the situation is ever changing and we're all learning. We're all learning. I think one of the biggest shocks for me, I'm really good at reading. I'm very good at interpreting information and I'm good at being able to get it over. And one of the biggest shocks for me in the beginning was when things kept changing daily. And so, you know, one day someone would ask me a question and I'd give them the answer, and then I'd be having to go back to them and say, no, the government have changed it. In fact, there was information that changed, important information that affects our employees and our businesses just last Thursday. We were like 4 weeks, you know, 3.5 weeks into lockdown, and suddenly they came out with a new. So the situation is ever changing, and we are all learning. Our government are learning. It's driving me crazy that the press are being so harsh on the government. How, you know, they're learning as they go along. They're trying their best. They're doing their best. Nobody wants to sit back and say, oh, you know, let's, you know, mess it up for everybody. Nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to do their best in this situation. So our government are learning. I want you, I'm learning. Your salon owners are learning. You're learning. We're all in this together. So we you know, we have to understand. It's no good at this point being negative, right? A positive outlook is imperative. The newspapers are driving me mad. We need Donald Trump to come. We need a bit of Donald Trump. You know, like when have you ever seen him when he goes, you're from CNN and you're fake news and all that stuff? Yeah, we need some of that from our politicians. But, you know, our politicians are too polite. Maybe when Boris gets better, maybe he might come and rip a sheet off them or something, right? So, so a positive outlook is imperative. Even when the going's tough, even when you've got a little bit of fear inside you, even when you're wondering whether, whatever it is, have a positive outlook, because that's really important to keep us all going. The good British spirit, that's what we need. We need to stay flexible and in a state of high alert. And here's what I mean by flexible. When we go back, it's possible that we're going to have to open more hours and have less stylists in the salon at one point, right? So, so we'll have to open more hours, and so that we have, instead of having, you know, round numbers, instead of having 10 stylists in, we have 5 stylists in there and 5 stylists in there. So please be flexible with your hours when your boss asks you that's what you need to do. In the initial few weeks, there is going to be a rush on the salons. There is going to be a rush in the initial few weeks. So whatever we have to do in those first few weeks, and we're going to talk in a minute how all the things we've got to do slower and more elegantly, but we've got to try and get as many of our clients into the salon as we can, because if we don't, we're in danger of losing them. And then we need to be in a state of high alert. In other words, if new information comes, right, we need to understand that we need to, you know, move quickly. That's a question. Glenda, can you write your question in a blue box, okay, if you will? So just write it out again in a blue box, all right, and then it will be picked up and it will come up at the end, okay? So we need to stay flexible and in a state of high alert, and we need to stay connected. Really important that we stay connected. You know, I have one of the things right from the beginning, before we even got into this situation, I don't have very much to do with the day-to-day running of my salons. I have an absolutely fantastic management team, and they take care of the day-to-day running of the salons. But it became apparent to me that leadership was needed, and I've got great leaders in my business, right? But I realised that they needed to be able to come together. And I also realised that a really important thing was keeping the team together, because weeks and weeks away, you know, when you go on holiday, a 2-week holiday, and you come back and you feel all of sorts. I mean, I love coming into my house after a 2-week break. Do you? Like, it's almost like the house is new. It's like someone's been in and redecorated the house, right? It's such a nice feeling. And the same when you go to work. It's like, can you imagine if everybody came back after weeks and weeks and weeks of being away and nobody had been connected? It would be so disjointed. It would be horrible. So stay connected, everybody. We need each other. And so that connectivity is really very important. Work hard at it. And then everybody is important. Here is something. If you can get this working in your team, this is going to be one of the best lessons of all. If we believe that everyone is important and we think of others, we don't have to think of ourselves. Because if I trust my team to believe that I'm important, and if I know that everyone else is thinking of me, I haven't got to think of me. I haven't got to think of me first. I haven't got to put me first. I can put everyone else first. Now, just think about that for a second. In a team of people, if everyone is putting everyone else first and not themselves first, think about how that turns everything inside out. I'm pausing for a second because I want everybody to think about that. Now, when you get the opportunity to come together after this with your team in a Zoom or in a house party or whatever it is that you're doing right now, talk about this, how you're all important and you can all think of others and put others first. And if you do that, the synergy of the group will be amplified. Like, I just cannot tell you how much it will be amplified. Okay, but you must all practice it. You must all put everybody else first and trust that they will put you first, and then we're all going to be okay. All right, so this is one of the most important things. Now, here come the dialogue, the questions. The answer is yes. What's the question? Whatever the question is, the answer is yes. Now, I realise that it might be something you've never done before, something you don't know, something, whatever it is, but the answer's yes. And if, my previous point, we are all thinking of others and we are working together and we're not putting ourselves first, somebody can help you, I promise you. So the answer is yes. What is the question? I'm committed to doing whatever I can and always my best. Now, if you adopt that dialogue, whether it be in your head, to your team, to your salon owner, to your client, you're going to be awesome. You're going to be amazing, and you will reap the rewards of that commitment, right? Of doing whatever you can and doing your best. And this is okay. If you need help, if you have got the synergy of a group who are putting each other first, when you say, I need some help, someone will be there to help you. Okay? So this is a really important part of being part of the whole, right? Is that we are able to 100% with trust commit ourselves, do our best, right? And when we need help, when it's not quite going to plan, someone will be there for us. This is a really important part. So this is very, very important. Imagine a new future. Now, I want you to know this. This is a fact. Every client is a new client. Why? New opportunity, yeah. We haven't seen them for a while and they've been home hairdressing. They've got different expectations. Very good. Yeah. Consistency. One thing I love is always because it's a new experience. It needs change. Remember hair MOT. We've not seen them for a while. It's a fresh start. To treat everyone with the same. The effects of it's going so fast now. I can't read it. A blank canvas. They are important. Never get complacent. Okay, here's why everyone's a new client. Your client's been through this too. Your client's been through this too. So she is a different person. She's a different person. So when she walks through the door, she's not the same client that walked out the door 6 weeks ago or 10 weeks ago, whatever it might be. She has had a lot of time at home to think, or if she hasn't, she's a key worker. How do you think it feels to be a supermarket worker who suddenly the whole nation is depending on you, and you might not want to go to work because you don't know who's coming through, but they say you have to come to work, and then they put a screen up in front of you so you can sit behind it to keep you safe, or you're stacking shelves, right? And people are leaning over you, and because I've seen it when I'm in the supermarket. I only go once a week, right? And I go there, and people are it takes me 3 times longer than it used to do the shopping, right? And I'm trying to keep my distance from people, and people are leaning over me and walking past me at this much. So we've all changed. We're all seeing the world differently. We're all experiencing things differently. We're learning more about our neighbours, right? And so when our client comes, she's a new client. Not just because of her hair. Yes, her hair is important, but not just because of that. She's changed. When she comes in, she's going to be looking around the salon at what's changed. She's expecting to see change. If she doesn't see change, she's going to be surprised. So every client is a new client and a new opportunity. Really important for us to remember that. Be ready, because you are likely only going to have a couple of days' notice. Maybe 2 or 3. When we look at what has happened in other countries and is happening in other countries, they're only getting 2 or 3 days' notice to get back. So I know that your salon owners are already thinking about some things, and I know that you've all spoken about it. People have told me how they've already decided as a team they're going to have a hair day so they can all get their own hair done and look nice, right? Because this is important. You know, having your hair looking nice. I mean, I've really got a thing about hairdressers wearing a ponytail. I really have. When I walk into salons and I see people with a ponytail, I'm like, really? Is that your best shot? And if I'm making anybody feel uncomfortable right now, good. Because if you came here for an easy ride, you're in the wrong place. You see, our hair inspires our clients. Our clients walk in. We are the walking, talking style book. Okay? So it's important that our hair looks good. One of the most terrible things about our industry right now is about 80% of the female hairdressers have got long hair. If all the clients, I talk to hairdressers, they say, I only get my hair cut twice a year. And then they wonder why they haven't got many clients. If all the clients only got the hair cut twice a year, we'd be in trouble, right? So cut the ponytail off. I'm not going to tell that, you know, people to cut the ponytail off. What I am going to say is if you've got long hair, please style your long hair. You know, at least have it in a braid or have it in some kind of really nice hair up, or use a heat tool and get some nice waves going on. And please don't have it the same all the time. You know, if you've only got one tool, you're always getting the same curl. So every time your client comes in, your hair should look different. It should be a different color and a different style. And if it's not long, if it's long, it doesn't have to be short. It can be a different curl or a different hair up or a different braid or something, right? So there, I got that one off my chest. So that's good. So lots of teams are talking about having a team day, get the team getting their hair ready, and also being able to then practice on each other the new things that we have to do, right? And so if you're going to have that day, let's take it seriously. Please don't turn up to the first team day where you're all getting your hair done and having training with your lounge suit and your slippers on, okay? Turn up with your makeup on and your smart clothes on, and present yourself to the team professionally, right? And let's set the standard, you know, for how we want it to be, okay? Don't, oh, it's just the team, so I'll only wear this. Please don't do that, okay? Let's show up as our best self. Now, let's find a way to consult with our clients before the day, right? Before they come in. And you've got to work out how you do that in your salons, right? But if you're going to just open the door and let clients arrive, you're going to get things like this. Hang on, it goes on the other side. Look. Right? Now, I have about 3 people that do my hair, like not all at once. About 3 people I trust to cut and colour my hair, right? The next time I have my hair coloured, if they just whack the roots on, it's not going to take, because my roots are about this big. And it will take differently in the first ½ inch to what it will take in the second inch. And Jude, maybe in one of your Q&As, you'll address this with people, how in the first ½ inch the keratin is new and soft, and in the second ½ inch the keratin is harder. And as well, we don't know what she's been putting on her hair. I've seen things where people are telling people to put mascara on their hair and eyeshadow on their hair. Well, a lot of eyeshadows have metallics in them. And if your client has been putting eyeshadow on her hair and you put hair colour over the top of that and there's a metallic in the hair, we've got a problem. So consult with your client before the day for a few reasons, so that we can find out what she's been doing, what it is that she wants. Maybe she's decided in this time that she's going to transform herself, right? And as soon as she gets an opportunity, she's coming into you and she's going to, now if that's the case, you need some time. So it's going to give us an opportunity to properly plan our services. We can't go back to how it was before, where, you know, we upgrade the client in the chair and we say, well, it's all right, because what I'll do is I'll do this, I'll move her, I'll do that, you can't do that. You won't be able to keep social distancing, right? And moving we've got to stick to the appointment times. So it gives us an opportunity to know beforehand what we're doing, make sure we get the right amount of time in, make sure that the client is quoted correctly, so she knows how much it's going to cost, because it might not be the same cost as it was if she's been having ½ inch roots done every 4 weeks, you know, forever and ever and ever, and now suddenly she's not been in for 12 weeks. That's a very different service. So really you should be charging differently for that. Think about how you can consult with your clients before the day, how that's going to work for you, how you can commit some time for that, and how you can make sure that you're really serving. I mean, what great value this is for clients, right? And if the client says, I don't know what I want, it's an opportunity for you to say, well, why don't you go on Instagram or whatever, I don't know, hair of the day or something. That's probably not a good one to do, but go and have a look and get some pictures and find out what you really like. You could have a Zoom call with your client or a FaceTime call with your client. It's a great, it's a great thing to do. It's also an opportunity for us to find out, to communicate with the client, anything we need her to know before she comes, but also for her to communicate with us. So I have written to I've written to Feather's top clients. So by spend, we got a report of the clients and I've written to them and I've surveyed them and I've asked them, what are they expecting when they come back? What do they like about the visit? What could we do better? It's been an interesting exercise. for the most part, I want to tell you that the client's expectations of what we do differently when we go back are actually quite low. And when I say quite low, what I mean is this: most of them had said the girls were already really good at sanitizing their equipment, and the salon's always clean, and the girls are always so polite, and I don't see that there is much more that you can do, right? So most people, there has been some really interesting feedback too, and we will take all of that into consideration, right? So but this is great value for your client to be able to do this. So these are the kind of dialogue we'll be using. Since your last visit, what have you used on your hair? Suspend judgment, right? Suspend judgment. Our clients are going to have cut their fringe. I nearly did it this morning. Look, I'm doing my hair. I'm thinking about you guys. I only put makeup on once a week now, and that's on a Wednesday, right? So I'm doing my hair. I'm looking at it. I mean, it's got spray on it. It's got full effect. I'm looking at the fringe. I was like, oh, I should really cut my fringe. You know, so the clients are going to have cut their hair. They're going to have put mascara on or bought something from somewhere, maybe. Not all, but a lot will have done. So no judgment. Didn't want to do it. Don't know why that's doing that. No judgment, okay? We don't want any judgment. What if my client has done her own hair, right? What are you going to say? Now, I want you to practice what you're going to say, because if you don't practice it, it will come out judgmental, because you are judgmental. We are judgmental. I've seen us all on Facebook. Wait for us. You know, don't do your roots. So practice what you're going to say. Here's some dialogue. I totally understand. I'm not upset with you. I just need to know so that I can formulate properly for you. You see, there are things that we can do. If somebody has put mascara on her hair or eyeshadow on her hair, and we're afraid that it might have some metallics in it or something that's got, we can. Malibu do fantastic color prepare sachets. We can send it through the post with, they cost like, to the client, they cost £5, right? Somewhere around that. We can post it to her with her skin test, right? Because we're going to have to skin test all of our clients when they come back. So she can use that color prepare so that when she comes into the salon, we know that that's not in there and we haven't got to worry about it. Or she might say, oh, I'm not very confident about doing that at home. Great, we can do it in the salon, but we need to make sure that we book that treatment in the salon, and we know that that's what we're going to do when she comes in, because we've got there's no, in the first instance, there'll be no movement for us getting it wrong. Keep trying to click on the wrong place. So let's talk about sanitation protocols for a minute. Let's talk about our personal hygiene for a second. And whilst I was so pleased to see all the clients saying such lovely, lovely things, I do know that it's really very important that we make sure that we really raise our game in this area. Only attend work if you're 100% well. If you're not 100% well, don't go to work. Now, actually, that is like so not normally. Declan would tell you, I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. You go to school. You know, I can be nearly, you know, dead on my feet and I'll be going to work. But it's really important at this point that we only attend work if we're 100% well, because God forbid somebody does fall ill in the salon, then because of, and this has not been talked about a lot, and this is why it was in the beginning and it's not been for a while, but they'll start talking about it. We'll know when they're getting ready to start releasing us from lockdown. They'll start talking about tracing, right? And if somebody does get ill, they'll start tracing who that person has been in contact with. And God forbid something happens in the salon, then likely the salon will have to close for 14 days, and everyone, unless there were people not in contact with that person. I do know salons in America who are literally putting their teams in 2 teams so that they don't come in contact with each other, so that they can keep the business going. I don't know if that's an idea that will work for you. Then you can do that if you like. There's going to be frequent hand washing and sanitizing, right? Because so of course washing your hands before you serve a client, but during the service there should be frequent hand sanitizing. And I'm going to suggest, here's what I'm going to do in my salons is we're going to have little tiny bottles of hand sanitizer. Everybody will have their own bottle of hand sanitizer. We're actually going to go back in, make sure everyone's wearing an apron, and the aprons have got pockets, so the hand sanitizer can be in their pocket where they can keep taking it out and sanitizing their hands and allowing the client to keep sanitizing her hand. You see, what's important about this is really understanding how coronavirus is spread, okay? And when you look at how it's spread, it's really quite, and how you catch it. There's quite a lot of simple things that you can do to protect yourself. One of them, of course, is regularly washing, because washing your hands does get rid of the virus, the coronavirus, right? The second thing is don't touch your face. Okay, and that's why actually a lot of people wear masks, because it stops them from touching their face. I've also seen a lot of people talk about because they wear glasses, they can't touch their eyes, right? It's because you mustn't touch your eyes, your nose, or your mouth. So really simple. So if we keep sanitizing the client's hands, right, making sure we're not touching our face, that goes a long way to making sure that you don't pick anything up, not just coronavirus, flu too, anything. So that's really quite important. Now, here's the other thing. I just want to put a caveat there for everybody. Make sure you are using lots of hand cream. The men, the boys as well, right? The boys as well. When we're doing this, okay, what happens is, a lot of washing, a lot of sanitizing, right? We are, we're infiltrating the acid mantle of our skin. So you can see I've been moisturizing my hands a lot. So let's make sure we keep moisturizing our hands and that we give clients moisturizer, please. Think about your presentation and your image. And at this point, I'm going to say another thing that a lot of people are probably not going to like, right? But I really think that we need to think about during this initial period. I know some of you girls really like very, very long nails. But I think that maybe you ought to think about that a little bit, because when we're talking about sanitation, I think it's, and remember I said earlier, it's a good thing to think outside, just not what we're doing, what other industries are doing. I think it's really good for us to think about, when we're talking about sanitation, to think about, nurses and doctors. And, you wouldn't see nurses with great big long nails, because it's questionable, the hygiene underneath the nail. Just saying. So maybe, make that sacrifice, not forever, but just for a while, until everything, gets back to a more situation where we're not all so paranoid about safety, etc. So think about the way you're presenting yourself and your image. Not just, are you the most trendy and down dude in hairdressing? Thinking about what would a client think would harbour germs, or, would not be the most sanitary way for us to be doing our hairdressing. For an example, I mean, when you're washing and sanitizing your hands a lot, I mean, I've been taking my rings off a lot, because it's quite difficult, to get underneath the rings. So I've been taking them off to wash my hands, and then I take them off to moisture my hands. I don't know, you've got to do what you think is right. We're all living through the paradigm of our own beliefs. But if you are truly there to serve your clients, then you will think about the way that clients will see it and make provisions for that. You know, and then we have to think about the gloves, the mask, the apron, you know, whatever we don't yet know what that's going to look like for us. I'm sure someone's asked a question about that. We'll address it at the end, but we don't yet know what it will look like in terms of recommendations. Of course, we do know what it looks like in terms of some of the conversations people have been having, etc., etc. Although I'm going to tell you that when I surveyed the clients of Feathers, there were very few people that are expecting a mask. Sanitation protocols for personal hygiene, the dialogue. We're committed to the health and safety of our clients and team. And that's it. We're committed to the health and safety of our clients and team. That's very important for us to get that dialogue in. Okay, so people will ask you questions. You need to be ready for the answers of those questions. So let's talk about client safety. Practice only essential contact. Now, I want you to think about this. So no shaking hands, no hugging. I mean, gosh, it's like the opposite of, you know, what we've been teaching for 30 years. But we can't do that in the beginning as much as we would like to. But when we're talking about essential contact, we're also talking about the client's essential contact. So let's not have the client moving around 15 chairs in the salon, right? We only really want the client going to as few places as possible. So if she's only having her hair cut and blow dried, then, you know, can she go straight to her styling chair and to the basin, to the styling chair and out the salon, right? Nowhere else. You understand what I'm saying? Frequent hand washing and sanitizing for the client as well. Ask the client to attend her appointment alone. This is why it will be important for us to contact clients before appointments. And in that Danish salons, and in fact, just this morning, Daniel's mum went and got her hair. She lives in Sweden. She went and got her haircut yesterday, and so we had a chat with her this morning. I'm sure it's going to come up at the end, so I'll talk about it more at the end. But overwhelmingly, it seems that in the first instance, there's no magazines and refreshments. From what I can see, I've made a decision that that's what we'll do in our salons. So we'll take all of those questions at the end. Here's the thing, other things is that, just to give you some idea, I mean, clients are going to need to use the bathroom, right? So we're going to have to think about, you know, all the surfaces should be cleaned all the time. Every time somebody goes to the bathroom, we're going to need to clean that bathroom. We're going to need to sanitize and disinfect that bathroom. I loved the idea that Nicole came up with of the green and red cards, and the green card says I've been cleaned, and the red card says clean me. I'm also going to have an amber card for my team. The amber card will say this station is being used, right? Let's say, for example, the client goes to the bathroom. The amber card will be left there, so people know don't touch that station, right? We're going to give clients a red card and say to the client, if there's any area of the salon that you touch and then afterwards you think that needs cleaning, please just put this red card there and someone will come along and clean it, right? So that the client doesn't feel bad about, oh gosh, you know, I touched that handle or something. I don't know how long that'll have to go on for, maybe only a couple of weeks, we don't know. But it's just a way, signals of clients knowing that we really are taking it seriously. So the client doesn't sit there and think, well, how do they know that someone hasn't been there before? Or how do I know that somebody didn't touch that door handle on the way in or the way out? Let me see if I had any other. Let's see the dialogue for the clients. Share with me any of your concerns so I may address them. We can do this when we talk to the client before she comes, and we can do this when the client arrives as part of our consultation. Share with me any concerns that you've got so that I can address them. Now, we have had clients who have said, in the survey we've done, I would prefer to come when it's quieter. So we're going to have a day when it will be quieter, and when there will be extra appointment time, and when we will guarantee there'll be more shifts of stylists. It might be 2 days. We've not quite got there yet because it's changing every day, right? But you might want to think about doing that. You might have a client who says, I would prefer to come when it's really quiet. A salon owner, I remember it was, couldn't remember for a second, but it just reminded me. Marie was telling me that just before they closed, she went in and did some clients on a Sunday because she'd had a couple of clients that said, I want to get my hair done, but I am concerned about being around other people. So she did those clients on a Sunday, right? So it's thinking about these things. It's going to be really quite important. Now, some of you may have already done this. Barbicide have got, you can go onto their website, which is literally www.barbicide.com. You do a little bit of studying, and then you can do a certificate, and you get this certificate, and it's free. And I recommend that, good, whole team done it already. I saw someone say, get your team to do this, okay? It doesn't take long. It's not that difficult. But what a great signal to the clients that you haven't just been away for a super holiday, everybody, right? At the expense of the government, at the expense of the taxpayer, and all turned up this morning and not spoken to each other. It shows the client that you're prepared and you're ready, okay? It's a great thing to do. So let's talk now about the sanitation protocols maybe in the salon. Deep clean the salon before you go back. And I know lots and lots of people have already done this. Deep cleaning the salon with steam cleaners, right? Little hand steam cleaners. Because, in the corners, the hair gets in there and it's impossible to get it out unless you really dig in there. If you get a steamer, they're cheap, they're like £30 or something, get in there and steam it, steam the chairs. And I'm talking to all of you about this because if we just have the salon owner doing this, this is not going to be fair. We're all in this together. You can volunteer to help with this. So, if you can spare a little bit of time, you can go into the salon, you can do 2 chairs or something and do them well, then volunteer to do that. Your salon owner is going to be so grateful. Sanitize regularly. We've talked about the signals, right? Making sure that people know that that this is being done. The reception area, what does it look like? I know, I'll put my hands up. Some of my salon's reception areas are they're busy and they're cluttery. It's got to be sorted out. Waiting area. There's been a lot of talk about not having a waiting area. But of course, what are you going to do if a client turns up early? Right? I don't know if any of you have got a passport in the last few years, but if you turn up at the passport office before your appointment, they don't let you in the door. Well, we can't do that. So I do think we have to think carefully about our waiting areas, but I do think we also have to have a plan for if a client does come early, somewhere for her to go, where we're able to do social distancing. The styling stations, the backwash, we've got to think about all of these things. They've got to be sanitized between every client in the first instance. The bathroom, we already talked about that. But your tools, your brushes, your combs, your scissors, your clips, they've got to be done between every single client. And your heat tools. I lived in America for a while, and I had salons there. And in America, they have, of course, it's licensed. In America, you have to have a license. You can the board, it's called the board, the hairdressing, it's called the cosmetology board. They come in, they spot check, and they come in at any time, and they employ people full time to just go around salons. And if they come round and they find something not right, you get a citation, which is basically a fine. So I feel kind of, I'm saying that because I feel kind of lucky that I had that experience, because it's much stricter there than it is in England. Like, you know, we don't sanitize our clips between clients, or we didn't before, but in America they do. They're not allowed in America to wear the clips on their clothes. That's not allowed. If somebody came in from the board and you had a clip on your sleeve or on your jumper here, whatever, you would get a fine. Right, so we have to think about some of those things. Andy gave us the great idea. I've already been and ordered 30 of the little silver tray in front of the client where you put your tools. And even though they've been in the barbicide and they've been sanitized, you know, give them a sanitized spray again in front of the client on the silver tray. Thanks for that tip, Andy. I like that one. So, your heat tools, right? I've seen your hair dryers, you know, like I used to be a busy stylist in the salon, trying to find, like, the handle of the hair dryer has got all product and dead skin cells stuck on it. Get them off, and keep them off. The flat irons and the tools, they can't have all this styling product stuck on it. Okay, get it off. Clients are going to be freaked out by this stuff. So we need to look at all of those things. And here's the dialogue. We're committed to the health and safety of our clients and teams. Okay, so let's get a bit of a focus on here. So the client's going to ask you, how have you been? And now, you've not been doing very much lately, have you? No. I realise you've been having some house parties and drinking quizzes and I don't know, whatever you've been doing, but you've been stuck indoors, right? So you've got some pretty boring stories to tell, I'm sure, right? But we don't want to be, professional hairdressers don't talk about that stuff anyway, right? How have you been, the client's going to say. If you then tell the client about your last 6 weeks of coronavirus, I mean, do we want conversations about coronavirus in the salon? Is that what we want? Do we want conversations of lockdown? Do we want that? No, we don't want that. So the client says, how have you been? Practice these dialogues. Staying at home was great. We are happy and healthy. How about you? Turn the question back. The client's only asking you to be polite, right? So turn the question back to the client. So we're happy and healthy. Staying at home was great, because it was great. Let's not, you know, you can't tell the client it's not. Are you excited to be back at work, right? Staying at home for a while was great. I am happy to be here now with you. How about you? Are you back at work? So always turning it back to the client. Put the attention on the client. Are you staying safe with all these clients? The client might ask, because she cares about you, okay? And they're interested. We are taking our sanitation protocols seriously, okay? So keep the conversation professional. Do you know the definition of professional is a standard to which we do not fall below? And in terms of dialogue, the new standard, set it for yourself. Don't worry about your colleagues. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. Do this for you. And if everybody in this team did this for themselves, what an awesome team you would have. Make the professional standard of dialogue. A professional standard means a standard you don't fall below. So have things you don't talk about in the salon. Don't talk about holidays. You'll be lucky. You won't be getting one for a long time. But don't talk about holidays. Don't talk about, you know, your kids. Don't talk about your boyfriend. Don't talk about those things, right? Keep it professional. And what does professional mean? It means talking about hair. So if the conversation gets off track, practice this dialogue now. Back to focusing on you and your hair. When you feel yourself getting out of control, getting off that professional track, off of that professional conversation with the client, you say, back to focusing on you and your hair. A client might not say this out loud, but all of your clients will be thinking about this, because we're all thinking about this with people that we care about, organizations that we care about, businesses that we care about. What can I do to help you? This is what the client can do to help us. Tell your friends and family about me. I would love to do their hair. This is your recommend a friend. Now, it is said that our economy is going to take a 35% hit. Now, if we take that literally, what that means is, it means that businesses are going to close. 35% will mean a third of businesses will close. A third of businesses closing means a third of people will be out of work. It means people are not going to have money and jobs. So it doesn't matter how busy you are as a stylist. It doesn't matter how busy you are those first 2, 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. It might even be 6 weeks that you're really busy. But the question is, will you still be busy after that? Right? Once we get that initial rush off. So everybody needs new clients, guys. Everybody needs new clients. So talk to your clients about recommending their family and friends. You'd love to do their hair. Your clients might think you're so busy you don't need them. You need to tell them that you need those new clients. I promise you, you need them. I've been in this industry a long time, 30 years in business. You need new clients. Ask your client, book your appointments ahead so that you can get your favourite slot, but so that we can forecast forward. Right now, everybody knows that every business is in survival. Every business is in survival. This is a really good time to ask people for business. So please book your appointments forward. You'll get your best slot, and it will give us as a business a chance to forecast forward and help us. Take my recommendations and advice by buying our home care from us. It would help us tremendously. So make sure you give those advice and recommendations, and let the client know that when she takes our recommendations from us, she is helping us. People will want to help. This is a massive retail opportunity. Massive. Don't let it pass you by, because once a client buys retail from you, she will buy it again. Your products are different. They get the right recommendation. They get the right shampoo. It doesn't always have to be an expensive recommendation. So let's make sure we make the most of this. And I want you to think about this for a minute. For a lot of people, they're getting 80% of their salary. They're not putting any petrol in their car. They're not paying for parking every day. They don't have to buy lunch every day. They're not buying any clothes. They're not booking any holidays. They're not going to restaurants. For some people, they've got money to spend. Okay? So let's think about that. And then lastly, asking the client, please give us a review. The team love to celebrate reviews, and it really helps our business. So let's make sure that we are asking people to help our business, and let's make sure we tell the clients how much we appreciate their business. We really appreciate you. We appreciate your business. These are really very important things. The professional you. I want you to, first of all, imagine yourself into a new way. So think about it. You've got lots of time to think. Think about yourself, being the ultimate stylist that you want to be. Think about that, okay? The most successful stylist that you want to be. All the things that you've ever wanted to say and do, and hairdressers that you admire, the way that they conduct themselves around the salon, all of these stylists that we've seen over the years that, they've worked for Sassoon and they've done this and they've done that. You look and go, wow, they're amazing. You can be that stylist. Imagine, first of all, yourself into the new way, and then act yourself into the new way. Act yourself into the new way. Just go into the salon and Act it. And guess what will happen long term? If you do that, what will happen long term? Let's get some feedback from you. Yep, you become it. That is exactly what happens. It becomes your new habit. It becomes you. You will be that person. I promise you. So I know how scary it is and how frightening it can be. Of course I do. You know, when I think back to myself as being that 16-year-old hairdresser once upon a time, I never dreamed in a million years that my career would end up as it has. But many times I've imagined myself into it and then I've acted my way into it. Okay. If you've got a great team around you, then this is easy for you to do. So imagine yourself into a new way, act yourself into a new way. And what I want you to do is I want you to do a self-affirmation. When we talk about dialogue, the most important dialogue is the dialogue you have with yourself. And I've written a self-affirmation for myself, a new one. I'm going to share it with you. And then I want you to make a big aha to write yourself a self-affirmation of your post-lockdown affirmation. Right? Here's mine. I'm grateful for the opportunity to pause and reflect, spend time and reflect and reset. I value my family, my community, and my industry. I value the opportunities that exist, and I'm excited for the future. I have learned that life is precious and the world is fragile. I have learned that health is wealth, and being part of my community is rewarding. I want to contribute to the world, and I have much to give. That's my self-affirmation. You know, I have my times. You know, I'm stuck here. This is not me. It's not who I am. I'm used to traveling. I'm used to getting out and about. I'm busy, but I'm busy indoors, and it's just different. So I've had my moments. That self-affirmation is what is going to help me. That's what I've learned, and I'm grateful for that. That's what I'm going to do moving forward. Do your self-affirmation so that you can keep yourself on track and make the most of this opportunity. It's in 40 years, I've never known an opportunity like it. It might not happen for another 40. So let's take your questions. Declan, if you can start putting the questions up. Declan would have been getting the questions. And where are we? We're on, wanted to make it 2 hours. Let's see how we go. I mean, I'll go as long as you know you want to. I'm thinking we need to be talking about all the positive things. We have the opportunity for transformation. Yes, Claudia? Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about all of that. Put it in your affirmation, okay? Make sure it's there. Next one, Declan. Have I heard our Denmark salons have been doing this week yet? Okay, so they only opened yesterday. Yesterday or Monday, whenever it was. Anyway, but I did tell you earlier that I spoke to Daniel, and I spoke to his mum earlier today. She had her hair done yesterday, and so did his dad, actually, in different, he goes to a barber's, she goes to the hairdressers. Anyway, she went to the hairdressers. They weren't wearing masks, they weren't wearing gloves, they are in Denmark. She said that her salon are always already really good, all the sanitation, etc., etc. You may or may not know that Sweden are not in lockdown and they've not had a lockdown, but interestingly, there's normally 4 hairdressers there, and they're working 2 and 2. It's a small shop, and they're working 2 and 2. That's really all his mum had to say, but rest assured, we are in touch with hairdressers in America, with hairdressers in Denmark, with hairdressers, you know, in other places. And so we'll bring all of that information to you. Next week, my webinar is going to be all about some of the research that's coming through. And it's just started to come through from these companies, like that research I told you of Kantar. So you're welcome to next week sign up, and we'll be looking at some of those things. Next question, please. You absolutely love this kind of education on this kind of platform. Yeah, it's something that it's actually a project. This is a project that we've been talking about for a while. It's something that Census had been working on about 2 years. It's funny how we've all kind of been propelled into it. We are Passion Hair are going to continue this. Of course, there will be education in our academy as well. I've already said that I think I'm going to do a webinar once a month. But when I do, of course, we'll put that Passion Hair Academy online thing up. Right, okay, Declan, next one, please. I'm worried about my. Oh, now I've got to move my picture of myself. I'm worried about my students breaking training. We've had 2 due to take their endpoint assessment. They're really disappointed. What can I say to help them stay positive? Well, everyone's in the same situation. So, and I too feel really bad for them. You know, the same with the kids who were supposed to do their exams, and it's terrible. It's one of the reasons, that I think. I mean, people's lives are on pause, and I don't think it's good for many people's, mental wellness, whatever. That's why I think the government have got to find a solution quite quickly. I think we're making a massive, my personal view, this is, we're making a massive sacrifice in so many ways. What can you say to help them keep positive? Just that everybody's in the same boat. Let's hope that they are keeping up their training, and I am sure whoever their training agent is will be keen to get those endpoint assessments done. So as soon as we get back, I'm sure that they'll be done. Doesn't stop them, of course, when you're going back, progressing in the salon, Glenda. And if we want to talk about that, they can still progress in the salon without their endpoint assessment, as long as they're being supervised. So progress them in the salon a little bit to give them a little bit of confidence that they are moving along. Okay, next question. Mandy's asking, would you get each individual stylist to put their client in with 2 to 3 days notice? Yeah, absolutely. I think there's going to be some more questions about this. I think that once we get 2 or 3 days notice, we're going to need a lot of help. I can see already people are saying my staff are furloughed. When do we ask them to call the clients for a consultation? There are different versions of what people can and can't do when they're furloughed. And they can volunteer. I mean, they can go and get another job in a supermarket or picking fruit in fields and still get their furlough money and get a second wage. So it's a difficult one, is what I'm going to say. But yes, I do think individual stylists helped with receptionists, whatever way you can make it work. But you can take them off furlough, of course. So it might be worth one day or taking them off furlough to, if you're concerned about it, to phone clients. Like, I'm not saying take them off and put them back on. What I'm saying is have them like at the end, come off furlough a day before the salon opens or 2 days. But I've got my stylists calling clients. Clients are contacting them. What are they supposed to do? I can't talk to you. I'm furloughed. I mean, it's ridiculous. Next question. How much do we charge for a crystal gel service in our salon? Crystal gel is £20. Remember, a crystal gel should always be followed up with the treatment afterwards, because if you're taking out, you must put back. So, and someone might tell me, one of my team in a minute might say, no, it's not that. So crystal gel, we charge £20 for a crystal gel, and then the treatment is on top of that. people can type in there if they want to tell Chloe what they're charging. Next question. What about beard trims on customers? My suggestion, do beard trims. My suggestion would be that in the first instance, while everyone's getting comfortable, including us, that's absolutely a point at which you'll wear masks. In Denmark, that is exactly when they're wearing their masks. They're not required to wear the mask all the time. They're required to wear the mask when they are cutting fringes, like close work, cutting fringes, beard trims, eyebrows, anything like that. So you just put the mask on and then take it off. So do it for your comfort and for the comfort of the client. Next. And as well, it's about asking the client. Client might say, oh, don't trim my beard this time. You know, what about hairdressing pouches? There's no regulation in this country about not wearing Oh, are you asking me about them? Well, okay. Actually, I have got something to say about that because, yes, I've seen some where they're falling apart. I've seen material ones where, you know, they're all bleached and that's no good. They've got to be clean and sanitized. And this is where, you know, I'm talking about professional hairdressers. We've got to start making our own decisions and really looking at our stuff and saying that brush doesn't meet the mark. If it don't look new, don't use it. Next. Children, how will this work? They can't bring their children into the salon. Because you can't, I don't know. I'm going to tell people they can't bring children into the salon. Also, we've talked about with my managers, what about when the children want to get their hair cut? Because then mum has got to come with the child, right? So we're talking about having certain hours only for children. But, I mean, you've got to take a view on it. It's not a regulation. No one said that this is how it's got to be. But if you've got other people in the salon at the same time, this is where I think asking the clients is important too, because you'll be able to gauge which clients are not worried, right, and which clients are worried about it. And you'll have to make sure that if you are going to allow clients to bring their children, there is a differentiation. But the other thing is, I mean, and it's going to come up again in a minute, I've been thinking about all this sanitization in the salon. And in the first instance, I want my team to be able to concentrate on their own, you know, their own safety and their client's safety. And I don't want them worrying about kids are over there with iPads, toys, leaving it here, leaving it there. She brought 2 kids in, they touched everything. Now you've got to sanitize the whole salon. There's no time for that. So you know, the least activity we can have, the least that, you know, less sanitation there is, like during the day. Do you see what I mean? Next question. No refreshments because of the spread of germs on glasses that we wash. If we give recyclable drink cans, is this okay? Again, it's not a regulation. You can do what you want. But I do know that in Denmark and in Sweden, they've stopped refreshments. And going back to what I was just saying a minute ago, you know, I've been thinking about this. If lots of people have been saying, where are we going to get the time for all this sanitation? Well, if we're not doing all the washing up, that gives us a little bit of time to do the sanitation. So most certainly in the first instance, and what I'm going to do is when we communicate with our clients, we're going to tell the clients that we're doing it in phases. And so in the first phase, if clients want to bring their own refreshment, they're welcome to do that. But we won't be offering refreshments. And one of the reasons is because I don't want my team to be distracted with refreshments when they've got to be worrying about the front door handle, the reception, the styling position, the basin. Oh, that client just went to the toilet. I think those things are more important. But if you want to carry on, there's no reason that you can't use cups. If washing your hands gets rid of the germs, washing the cup in the sink will get rid of the germs. So there's no reason that you shouldn't use cups and saucers. That's the reason why I've decided not to do it. Next question. Made me jump. Sorry if you made me jump. Stop it. What are the silver trays and where are they from? So when Andy did his webinar, he had got this little silver tray and he puts his tools on it. It's a little bit like, you know, when you go to the dentist, they have a little silver tray, or when you go to the doctor, or you have, they put all their instruments on a silver tray. Anyway, where did I get mine from? I got them from a restaurant company. They were 20 centimetres by 14 centimetres by 2 centimetres, and they were about £3.50 each. So it was a really good one. They should put the little, dental trays, eBay, about £4 each. Thank you, Andy. So I just think that's a signal. It's a really good signal. Next question. With face masks, are they a one-time use or? Okay, so different face masks are different. Census are selling face masks, so we're selling face masks. The ones we have are, you wash them at 40 degrees. They're World Health Organization approved, FDA approved. FDA is the American Drug Administration, Federal Drug Administration, and they're EU approved. And so you wash them. So I shall issue one to each of my team, and they're not required to wear it all the time unless the government tell us otherwise. My plan at this point is to give it to the team to use for close work, unless the government tell us otherwise. Changes all the time. I have to keep remembering to do that. Can you send us the dialogue slides, please? Yes, I will do that. I'll put them up. I'll have to repair that one that went missing. And I'll put them up for you on the Passion for Hair Stylist hotline. Can you confirm time service for haircuts on our return? Well, again, it's going to be up to you. In my salons, we are not increasing times of services. In order to do that, I've done the sums, and we would have to increase our prices by so much money. It wouldn't be commercial. What we're doing is we are going to do more, have like a backup team working so that they can keep to their current timings. By doing the consultations online, that will cut the consultation time in the salon down too. So that's what we're doing. You've got to decide what you want to do. But there's no margin in our salons. We've got no margin to give up for time, and my team don't want to give up their wages either. If we are really busy, would you imagine that the apprentices are going to really step up to assist the stylists and do tint regrowths and blow dries for their stylists? I mean, if you've got apprentices that can do that, and you're confident, then I think that's a good thing to do, right? I think it's good for the assistant. I know that a lot of people are saying one client, one hairdresser, unless regulations tell us otherwise. That's not what we're planning to do. So if you can do that, and it's going to be professionally done, and you're happy with that, and your clients are happy with that, I just think that we've got apprentices that we feel we're going to need to do more training, and we will have to be a lot stricter with. Maybe you've got that too, but for those that are, all my staff are furloughed. When do you suggest we ask them to call their clients for a consultation? Will it be when we know when we will return? So Jill, I think I answered this one a little bit earlier. But yeah, the consultations will only be just before they go. By the way, Salon IQ this week, someone might be able to tell me this, they're about to release an online consultation that you can send your client. And so my suggestion would be, I've not seen it yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing it, but what I'm thinking is this, that you can send that to the client in the first instance, and if it comes back and it's there you are, prepping the release of it now. So if it comes back and it's fairly simple, then that's your pre-consultation, right? We can see it's simple. But if it comes back and the consultation proves to be complex, that's the point at which we follow it up with a phone call. That's what I'm thinking will happen. Okay, that's the plan. Yep, sent to the client via email before their appointment. So, and that can be set up automatically, I'm guessing, Sam, yes? Yep. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking everyone will get that email one, and then as they come back, the stylist will look at them, and then they'll follow up by telephone where it's not really clear to them, where it's complex. Next question. I'm worried at accommodating all my clients quickly enough. If I work more hours, the cycle will be as difficult when they're due their next appointments. I'm not sure what to do for the best. Okay, I've thought about this too, actually. Well, I think, Michelle, it's got to be, what you've got to do is you've got to think about, you want some clients booking 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. That's what I think you've got to do in the first instance. And you've got, say you've got a client like me. Say to me, would you book for 4 weeks? I've got to find a way of spreading everyone out. Would you book for 4 weeks? Because I've got short hair, right? I know you normally like 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but would you book for 4 just to give me an opportunity to space everyone out? And I think probably in your first round, you'll be able to get everybody spaced out if you start thinking between 4 and 8 weeks in terms of booking people. So I might be a client who normally books 6. You might say, do you mind booking 7? I know you like 6, but would you book 7 so I can just space everyone out? You'll have to gauge it by the clients that you know are going to be more flexible like that. Next question. I'm worried for my team. I don't want them to be overwhelmed by the demands of clients. Any suggestions to help with this other than ask their opinions? I think if it's managed well, like we've spoken about today, in terms of, doing those pre-appointment consultations and making sure that when the client comes in, the client knows what's going to happen and the stylist knows what's going to happen. I think actually it'll run more smoothly than normal, is my opinion. Because get the demands done in advance on the telephone and it's not just the demands, it's the expectations of the client. What you don't want is a client who's expecting to come in, right, and she's the only one in the salon and she walks in and there are, 4 stylists and 4 clients and a receptionist. Do you know what I mean? So that's, you've got to do all that thing. And I realised you probably typed that question early. Next one, Declan. Could we say 1 child, 1 parent at a time? Gosh, if the police... No, I think you've got to say to people, please attend the appointment by yourself. That's my personal view. Taylor happens to work at Feathers. So that's why I've answered that in that way. And if a client says, well, I can't, then then the stylist will have to take a view, Taylor, and say, well, if you come at 8 o'clock in the morning for your cut and blow dry, I'll come early for you and you can bring your children. But you'll have to do that when other people are in the salon, because you're in danger of clients saying, I don't think that's a good idea to have all that children in here. That's what I think is the problem in the first instance, because everyone's judging it by their own, my neighbours, me, right, by their own perception. Next one. Can each section have their own barbicide pot so clients can see the tools are being sanitised if you want to? If that's what you want to do, then of course. There are other ways of sanitising tools, of course. There are sprays that sanitise tools. Next. Our backwashes are close together. What will you be doing to keep your clients and the team safe in this area? Okay, I've thought about this a lot. And I'm going to tell you that I've not yet decided. We've not come to a finite answer on it yet. Because the other thing is the client's back and now the hairdresser's here breathing over the top, so I can't answer you on that one. I've not made a decision myself yet. I know some people are talking about separating them and the such like. I've heard some negative feedback from clients about that. What would your advice be on scissor pouches? We covered that one earlier. If it don't look new, don't use it. If it looks new, it's fine. New and clean. What was that? Where did you get your masks from? Jane. Sensors have got masks. Next. Can't believe you've missed that, Jane. Would you consider disposable cups that are recyclable? No, I wouldn't, because I it doesn't matter if it's recyclable, it's still got to go to landfill, and I believe in the planet, so no, but it's up to you, it's your salon. Our salon IQ still working? I was thinking of changing to them before we go back. Yes, they are. Tommy Brooks. There you go, Sam. There's a lead for you. She's got you, Tom. Don't worry. Tommy, I'll make sure she knows how to contact you. Will you still use the neck brushes? Can they be sanitised? Yeah, they can. The problem will be, of course, as you're sanitising them, you're getting them wet, so you're going to need more neck brushes, aren't you? And a way of being able to dry them in between. So might be good to, yeah, it's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that, Naomi. Good point. But yeah, they will need sanitising in between. In the first instance. In the first instance, I think we have to do like all the sanitising we can. Next, I wonder about using, someone might have some children having haircuts times 2 children with 1 parent, not the child coming with the parent for their hair. Oh, okay. Well, the picture of Emma looks like Naomi there. Children having haircuts with 2 children and 1 parent. Well, in that case, Emma, I would be really thinking about the layout, depending on, the salon. And of course, I know your salon. But I would definitely be thinking about what other clients are in the salon at the same time. And so I think that's why children's haircuts almost needs to be, we're going to have a dedicated time for children so that we can manage it differently. I think that, is going to be the answer to that. And, the before work, the after work, that might be the answer. Next one, Declan. Any more questions? Is that the end of the questions? Well, that's good. Yeah. Someone had said about the neck brush, using the disposable towel. Are children that important? Maybe these should be directed to quieter times. Yeah. So, Brian, UV cabinet for neck brushes. Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea because they won't get wet then. Very good idea. I had a little look at UV cabinets. Problem is they're in short supply at the moment. Yeah, children to the quieter times. Right. Bring back the autoclave. You mean the UV cabinet? Yes, Jane? I'm sure that's what it was called back in the day. Okay, so, well, everyone, if that's all of the questions, it's been wonderful. How did we do? 2 hours and 10 minutes. It's not easy to keep you all engaged on there for 2 hours and 10 minutes. I hope this has been helpful for everybody. We will try to get this a link up on Passion for the recording, Passion for Hair, the Passion for Hair Stylist hotline. We'll try and get the recording up. I will put the slides up too. I've got to give me a little while to do it because somehow one of the slides got spoiled. I know how. So I just got to fix that slide and then I'll get it up there for you. Thank you all. We really appreciate it. Let me just remind you that we have got Friday, this afternoon, some of you have got census with Jude. Tomorrow we've got Jude Q&A. Friday, Daniel Simonson. That's going to be a great opportunity, Simonson. We've sold a ton of Simonson tools, so don't miss the opportunities, guys. Next week, let me remind you what we have. Monday, we've got Maria. She's doing Malibu, corrective colour. This will be an important one because a lot of your clients are going to come back and need some corrective colour. So that's on Monday with Maria. Next Wednesday, I'm going to be doing some of the research that I've been reading, bringing that to you. It's stuff which is circulated amongst the manufacturers and distributors, but I shall bring it to you next week. Again, next Thursday, always Thursday with Jude Q&A. Mondays and Wednesdays, of course, you've got your census webinars. And then next Friday, we've got Richard, and he had such a lot of feedback and questions about the horseshoe that he's called it Developing the Horseshoe. So Will I be putting screens up between your back wash stations, as mentioned last week? No, there's been really a lot of feedback from clients about that. Clients are saying if it needs screens, then we shouldn't be open. Think about, Claire, just think about this for a second. And actually, for those of you, a lot of people have dropped off now, and that's okay, but there's still a lot of you on. There's about 150 of you still on. Think about this for a second. A client wrote back to me. So I wrote to a client, I've never met her before. And she wrote back to me and she said, we're in the same situation that you are. We've had a restaurant for 20 years. We had to close the door overnight. Staff are furloughed, etc., etc. And she said, have you got any advice for me? Right? She turned the tables on me, made me sit back. And I thought about it and I thought, right, when I next go to a restaurant, which by the way, I'm really looking forward to, what will I expect? Will I want the waitress? Will I want, you know, yeah, I'll expect to sit separately in the tables. I won't want people right on top of me. I'd never like that anyway, right? But will I want, no, I won't really want that. And will I want the servers to have masks on? No, not really. Am I going to expect them to wear gloves? I quite like the idea that they might wear gloves to serve, white gloves, you know. Do I want a dirty pinny? No. Do I want a nice, clean, crisp apron? Yes, I do. Do I want someone serving me with long nails? No, I don't. So, you know, I think thinking about those things helps. Is there a list posted with all of these dates and times? Yeah, look on Passion for Hair Stylist Hotline. Was posted up there yesterday, I think, but we'll post it up again. We'll do it again. Yeah, the lady with the restaurant. Yeah, it was great that she asked. It made me really think about things, and it's really helped me to make some decisions about my own business. And they're decisions about my own business. There's no regulations. So far, there is not even a suggestion that they're going to let us open. Okay, so keep everything flexible and fluid. All right. You think you can guess that client? Her children and her grandchildren come to the salon. Would you mind sharing what you sent out? Yeah, I'll share that with you, Emma. Anyone else want it? I'm not putting it on the group. Emma Hassa. Anyone else? I'll send it to you. Marie, yes. Marie, it was on the you're in a group that it was on. Jane. Janice. Yeah. Matt, yeah. Anyone else want that letter? Copy of that letter. Marcus, yeah. Carly's pre-appointment question. Gary, yeah. Gary. Jane Hodgetts. Are we Facebook friends, Jane? I was going to do it through Messenger. Maria. Tina. What's Deanna? Deanna, you're asking for the letter or for Carly's question? Who's the names? Shannon. Rebecca Piles. Oh gosh, maybe I should just put it on. Do you know what? I'm going to put it on. Do you know what? I am going to, yeah, because they're doing, so basically everyone. I'm going to put it on the, trying to remember what the letter says and how sensitive it is. I'll go back and have a look at it. I'll put it on the Passion for Hair Stylist hotline. Okay, I'll put it there. Oh, bless her. I got cut off, come back, so I just said yes. Just didn't want to miss anything, bless her. Okay, so, all right, guys, is that everything? It's been a pleasure. It's the highlight of my week. It's the highlight of my week, Wednesdays, I promise you. And I have a Zoom with my managers on Wednesday afternoons too. Yours too. All right, everybody. Have a great afternoon. The sun's shining. Get some fresh air. It's Earth Day. Happy Earth Day.